there have been legitimate questions about the long-term viability of the traditional worldwide and domestic box office after the pandemic shutdown. We saw a lot of theaters almost went out of business. They've opened back up, but things have not returned to normal until this weekend. Finally, a movie has pierced the public conscience, and people are coming out in droves, and that movie is Spider-Man No Way Home. There have been a lot of, maybe not duds, but a lot of movies that had expectations. Will this be the one that gets, the domestic box office, the worldwide box office back on track? The Fast and the Furious couldn't do it. Major Disney franchises couldn't do it. Other Marvel movies, including Black Widow, an established character, although she is dead in the current continuity, she wasn't able to do it. Shang-Chi wasn't able to do it. And Eternals weren't able to do it. Now, they might not have all lost money or been huge duds, but they were not the guaranteed box office juggernauts that Disney and Marvel Studios had been accustomed to in the past. And we have finally a box office winner. Spider-Man No Way Home is breaking records this weekend. And if it stays on track, it is going to have one of the 4 or 5 largest domestic openings in the history of movies, not adjusted for inflation. So you got to keep that in mind. But still, an opening Friday of a record-shattering $121.5 million is nothing to sneeze at. And if it stays on track, the current projection is a debut of $250 million, which are well ahead of expectations, which certainly had been adjusted to COVID-19, where was a lot of worry out there about Omicron. Is that going to keep people away from the theaters? It turns out nobody could keep people away from theaters with Spider-Man No Way Home. There were a lot of teases, a lot of confirmations about the inclusion of past characters, villains within this Spider-Man movie. I think that had a lot of people buzzing. What else was going to be in there that they didn't know about? Now, I do know there were a lot of spoilers coming out, specifically starting on Wednesday, about Spider-Man No Way Home. You will get none of those here. I am not here to spoil this movie for you. I'm just here to sing the praises and report on the enormous box office success that Spider-Man No Way Home, starring Tom Holland, is absolutely is for the movie industry, which is much needed. And this is the very first film in the COVID-19 era, so for the past 2 years, to go past $100 million in a domestic opening launch. That used to happen a lot of times. Every summer you would see multiple blockbusters eclipse that. You would definitely see it during the Christmas season. And, there'd be a couple of other movies here and there that do it as well. This is the first time in 2 years that we have seen this. And prior to this, the highest opening domestic was $90 million. There's a lot of things. There are a lot of keys to the success. It's not just that people knew that they were going to get to see some characters that they hadn't seen in quite some time, that they were going to get some surprises that were hinted at, that were going to be included in this movie. And certainly it's opening the door for the next chapter of the MCU. If you're still invested in that, it feels like this is leading right into that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie. But it is holding, and I've seen the praises left and right all over social media, a very impressive A+ cinema score. Now, cinema score is always pretty darn good, but A+, it gets no better than that, and those don't actually happen all that often. And also, it includes a 90% recommend score. 91%, my apologies. That is a very good exit survey. Those are high remarks. I've seen it all over social media. My friend Skip Itash, who here from the channel, said he cried twice during the movie. We had Kenneth Dowling, who probably from the Comics Aficionados. He couldn't stop talking about it. We also had Drew from Comics League. He couldn't stop talking about it. Yellow Flash, one of the more cynical people out there, said it was a 9 out of 10. I've seen very few people try to take a dump on Spider-Man No Way Home. And if you do, I'll be shocked if people don't just jump all over you, because people have fallen in love with this movie. And, it's an absolutely enormous success. Now, these are the biggest openings of all times. And remember, this is on track, if it holds course, through the weekend to hit $250 million on its opening weekend. Of course, Avengers Endgame, $357 million. Avengers Infinity War, $257 million. Star Wars Force Awakens, $248 million. Star Wars The Last Jedi, $220 million. Jurassic World, $208 million. None of those are adjusted for inflation. So just in real dollars, this has a real chance to slide in at number 3 or 4 before the weekend's over, which would be an enormous success. I don't think anybody thought this was possible at this point in time for a movie to be this successful. We know there are less theaters out there, so it's absolutely it's very impressive. You can't understate how important this was to the movie going audience, to the movie industry, and how important it is to Marvel Studios to let people know you can still have confidence in our brand, in our movies moving forward. Not everybody, was so enamored with Black Widow or with Eternals or with Shang-Chi. Certainly they have their fans, and I've heard people sing the praises, but they haven't been the kind of success that you would have expected previously from a Marvel Studios blockbuster, and this one finally has gotten there. It also had the third largest preview gross of all times. Obviously, they do the sneak previews in the U.S., behind Endgame and Star Wars The Force Awakens. So it's putting it in rarefied air in some of the top grossing films of all time. Now, it was not just contained to the North American movie audience. European audiences also had their opening weekend, and certainly there are different feelings about Omicron there, but this couldn't be stopped by the European audiences either. They went out and saw it in droves. No Way Home grossed $184 million in its first 3 days, finishing on Friday with a global haul of $302 million already. It's probably going to pass $500 million by the end of the weekend. We have not seen this kind of success in a very long time. Are things getting back to normal? I don't know. But it certainly appears that if you deliver the goods, and I think for the most part, fans have proven this time and time again. If you give people what they want, or they feel like they're going to get what they want, and you actually deliver on it, the word of mouth spreads. It goes like a wildfire, and people have to go. They had that FOMO. Nobody wants to miss out on the best movie that's come out since the pandemic. I can't think of anything else out there that people have just been like, you can't tell me spoilers because there's no way I want to miss this movie. This is the first time that's happening. I really do hope this is a return, not to normal. I don't know that we're getting back to normal, but we're getting closer to there, and this is a very exciting time. Now, this movie did cost $200 million to produce. It is receiving a exclusive theatrical release. There was obviously some criticism, some controversy about Disney's previous strategy to offer these films on Disney Plus for a pretty hefty feed where you could watch in your home and release it simultaneously on theaters. You can thank, apparently, Scarlett Johansson for bringing that lawsuit, because they've essentially stopped that strategy as far as opening movies. If you enjoy the theater going experience, and honestly, if you want to save movie theaters as being the place to go for these big debuts, because it's forcing people into the theaters and to watch it out there and support the movie theater industry, which I think is fantastic. So well done, ScarJo. I don't think this is what you're trying to do, but you got the job done. And this film currently has been showing in 3,700 theaters across the country in North America. And by Friday, and we're already on Friday, so by now, it will be on 4,300 cinemas, including every single IMAX location. Now, that is an enormous success. Obviously, the secret sauce in this one, the real moneymaker, the Spider-Man movies have always done very well, but they hadn't been doing better than, let's say, the Fantastic Four franchise, which obviously came out earlier, and there was some more consternation about going out. I think people are getting more comfortable with it. Definitely part of the secret sauce to making this an enormous success is the nostalgia factor of including some of the elements or cast members of those previous two Spider-Man franchises Sony had. Obviously, the Tobey Maguire one, a little bit more successful, until the third movie. And then obviously the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man film, Amazing Spider-Man, bringing in Electro, who was not great in that Andrew Garfield sequel, but people like Jamie Foxx. It looks like they have a better version of Electro in there. They already confirmed, Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin as well. And of course, I think it's been the best portrayal of any villain so far in a Spider-Man movie was Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. So getting to see that character in the trailer certainly got people excited. It certainly implies that other characters might be showing up that you'd be very excited to see. And I think this ended up becoming, like a phenomenon. People weren't going to miss it. They missed enough movies to this point that they weren't going to miss the Spider-Man movie. Not only was it important to the future of the MCU, but it was going to be incorporating things from other films that they already loved. So I am very happy about this. The entire movie industry should be very happy. Spider-Man No Way Home is an enormous success. It looks like it's going to have one of the top 5 openings in domestic movie history. Likely, if it stays on track, to hit over 250 million. I'll be surprised if it doesn't get bigger than that, because I've heard so much word of mouth that people that weren't planning on seeing the movie are saying, "Oh, I'll see it in a week." Now have to go see it before they get it spoiled, because there's so many spoilers out there. And I'm glad. Hey, no spoilers here. Definitely no spoilers in the comments section. There are a lot of people that are excited about this movie. They're probably excited that it's made so much money and there's so much buzz about it. Don't spoil the movie in the comments section. But this is an enormous success. Are we getting back to normal? I don't know, but this certainly feels like the first step, as far as movies and box office, to getting back to some sense of normalcy about the box office. And maybe we could still save the movie industry as far as movie theaters, because it felt like they were an endangered species and everything was going over to streaming. I like streaming, but I don't like it that much. I love the movie theater experience, especially on a big action, spectacular like this Spider-Man movie. Definitely needs to be enjoyed in seen in the theaters. I wish I was able to go myself. The closest theater is 4.5 hours away. I can't pack up all 3 kids and the wife just to go see a movie at this point. I just can't justify it. Plus, we just had all the typhoons and whatnot. But I hope you get to see it. I hope you loved it. And boom, breaking records on its opening weekend. Spider-Man No Way Home. Didn't see it coming, to be honest. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.